Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Everyone in the world wants to get blissful and peaceful life. Everyone wants to live happily with all kinds of wealth, even health. This is common thing for a common man and common issues. In this regard, a man runs fastly, wanted to settle in a short span of time. In this regard, what happens? He loses his temper. That means he loses his patience, tolerance. By that, he goes in violent manner. Actually, when we think of our ancestors, they give much more priority to the tolerance. Tolerance is one of the gem or jewel for humankind, like an ornament. Through such tolerance, like Gandhi, Mahatma, etc., conquered Britishers and brought freedom to India, independence to India. Because they believed tolerance is the key for any kind of success. If anyone wants to get his life fruitful and brightful, he has to acquire the tolerance. He has to give priority, not for wealth or anything, only for tolerance. Tolerance can conquer everything, like Yudhishthira in Mahabharata. He never tempted, even tempted by Shakuni, Duryodhana, Karna, Dushasana. These four called Dushta Chatushtaya. That's why he is called Yudhishthira, having stable mind in Yudhi war. He never tempts. When we compare even our cricketer, I think all of you know, when we come to talk about a tolerance, he is none other than Jharkhand Dynamite, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Whenever you see him, his face never shone with tension. He is always cool-minded because he has a tolerance. Tolerance means nothing. Understanding the facts without expecting anything in return, without our efforts. Even putting our efforts are also not guaranteed to get success. Then how can we expect the positive in every field without our efforts? Is it not? That's why tolerance is a main weapon. It is mainly taught by our ancestors in India, the sages in India. That's why our Indian country itself gives a priority for tolerance. Anyone can convince or please others with his tolerance, attitude of tolerance. Lack of tolerance only, our people are getting lots of obstacles, hurdles in their day-to-day life. Therefore, we have to understand the detailed description of significance of tolerance. Therefore, today I took the topic of significance of tolerance. Let us see it. Let us start prayer. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. In the present world, everyone is in a hurry and worry. The hurriedness and lack of empathy towards others are breeding intolerance in our society. Can we say that we are slowly losing the significance of tolerance in this busy world? Yes. We can relate tolerance to a shirt's price tag as it shows how valuable we actually are. It plays an indispensable role in every stage of our lives, during childhood, teenage, or adult age, or old age. Being tolerant is an essential for a fruitful and brightful life. Let us see the meaning of tolerance. Tolerance means the ability to respect others' feelings and their opinion on a specific issue, despite having conflicting views of our own. A tolerant person listens to the opinions of others patiently and tries to understand their perspective, while at the same time they put across their opinions or ideas without any conflict. Tolerance thus means accepting everyone's opinions without conflicting. Intolerant people often get angry on conflicting issues and destroys the tranquility of the peace or the place. They make a situation worse and get bad outcomes. Such people also lack relationship values and often seem to fight over trivial issues. On the other hand, a tolerant person puts themselves in the shoes of others and tries to understand their perspective and respect their feelings and opinions. They try to solve the situations by honoring the views of both sides and get positive outcomes. A tolerant person, this has a healthy and effective relationship with everyone. Therefore, we can say India and tolerance. How? In a large country like India, tolerance has played a key role. It is an essential for a peaceful and loving environment in the country. Ours is a culturally diverse city, a diverse society. We should tolerate and respect people of all religions, castes, and gender wholeheartedly. Even if we have different living habits, cultures, and environments, we should love, understand, and respect everyone in this regard. This will result in a peaceful and tolerant society. If you look around, India, in essence, is a tolerant nation. People have been tolerant for centuries because of their greatness. We thus have to maintain this tolerance in society. In this regard, let us have practicing tolerance. How? To become a tolerant, one must practice it. I would suggest that one must start practically tolerance, first of all, understanding one's own self, one's self, and respecting the views of others, feelings of others. We should give space to everyone and tolerate their decisions. Remember, fighting is not a solution to our problems. It often worsens the relations. We should thus try to become tolerant and value the importance of tolerance in human life. Therefore, we can say tolerance is a moral virtue. Tolerance should be placed within the moral domain and must be recognized as a moral virtue. Some philosophers have linked tolerance with respect, equality, and liberty. People often confuse tolerance with prejudice. Tolerance and prejudice are different concepts and should not be mistaken for being the opposite of each other. In fact, they exist in most of us. Tolerance within the moral form or moral domain relates to fairness, justice, and respect and avoiding causing harm to others. It can be viewed as a positive moral virtue, and early civil liberations acknowledged tolerance as a moral duty. They argued that tolerant people value in the individual their independence and freedom of choice. Tolerance, as we define it, refers to the skills we need to live together peacefully. In times of peace, people have a chance to prosper socially, economically, and emotionally. Tolerance creates a society in which people can feel valued and respected, and in which there is a room for every person, each with their own ideas, thoughts, and dreams. This is why we believe tolerance is important, because it is an essential aspect of healthy, livable society. In fact, it is the only way in which a country as diverse as a politically, religiously, economically can function and use each and every difference to make its people thrive rather than suffer. Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. They arise from sense perception, ocean of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and also distress. A Vaishnava is personally tolerant for the benefit of others. When he does not show his prowess, this does not mean that he is lacking in strength. Rather, it indicates that he is tolerant for the welfare of the entire human society. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from all kinds of anxieties regarding gain and loss. The way to transcendence is through tolerance only, but not indulgence. All of us periodically battle urges that damn us. Urges born of lust, anger, and greed. For example, we want to be free from these immortal anti-devotional urges, but they keep coming back. When such an urge appears at the back of our mind, or worse still, at the front of our mind, they drain us of our mortal energy or mental energy, meta shakti. At such times, we may think that we can get rid of the urge by indulging in it. And indulgence does seem to work. It frees us from the craving. But the relief is temporary and treacherous. Indulgence feeds the urge and makes it stronger. After a brief respite, the urge comes back harder. We find that we have not got rid of the urge for good. We need to tolerate it. Each time we tolerate the urge and say no to it, we starve it, thereby awakening it. Tolerance is a slow but sure way to attain transcendence, to go beyond the pull of the urge. However, we often underrate the power of tolerance because it seems like doing nothing. When the urge stickens or when the urge strikes, we want to do something assertive, either flying the urge out of feeling ourselves into it. Tolerance seems utterly unassertive. That's why we need to couple tolerance with a higher purpose wherein we can express our assertiveness. Gita wisdom offers us devotional service as a means to assert our right to the higher life of living or loving Krishna and gaining lasting fulfillment of thereof. When we keep ourselves busy in serving Lord Krishna, the tolerance of the distracting urges becomes easier. Gradually, the urge weakens, till finally, the day we transcend, the urge disappears. Before giving up this body or leaving from this world, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and he is happy in this world. It is imperative that people show cultural tolerance where there is a diverse array of people of different cultural backgrounds. One must respect the culture of others, irrespective of class, color, or creed. In this era, where there is enough maturity and sense of values of others, we still observe lack of tolerance regarding culture. A fresh example is that of France, where Muslim women are not allowed to wear the veil in specific areas. If we think for a moment how Europe emphasizes freedom of expression and then observes steps they have taken regarding Islamic culture, it shows us a clear lack of tolerance. We need to accept every individual of our society as our own. We have to be tolerant to any kind of culture. Only then can a society be called perfect and tolerant. Tolerance can and must be learned. We need to teach girls and boys not just how to live together, but how to act together as a global citizens. We need to nurture tolerance by promoting cultural understanding and respect from parliaments to the playground. We need to tackle growing inequality and reject social exclusion based on gender, disabilities, sexual orientation, and ethnic or religious background. Tolerance is the strongest foundation for peace and reconciliation. At this juncture of rapid and often bewildering change, it has never been so important. On this International Day, I call on national and community leaders and all those who wield influence through traditional and social media and among their peers to embrace the tolerance as a bond that will unite us on our common journey to a peaceful, sustainable future. Society is formed by groups of individuals who possess different elements that make them human. We all have our unique characteristics and personalities that makes us different from each other. Those characteristics or qualities and attributes which are the basis for the betterment of society are in fact most important and of great significance, whether it be loyalty, sincerity, love, or gratitude. Tolerance is one of those qualities that forms the bedrock of society. The world is much smaller place today. Globalization has blurred borders throughout the world. More people from different nations, cultures, religions, and lifestyles are working together and living in the same neighborhoods than ever before. We are in a global village now. Lack of tolerance has recently resulted in uprisings in various countries. In this globalization, where people of different backgrounds, cultures, and faith are live together, and where the world has become more multicultural and diverse than ever before, establishing tolerance and harmony has become more crucial and important. Fostering mutual love and affection has become vital. Let us take religion for example. Tolerance is very important in the case of religion. How people worship is a very personal thing, and someone bashing a person's religion can start a hate battle very quickly. Everyone has the right to believe that what they want. If there was more tolerance among people, there would be fewer battles over all world whose religion is right. All illustrations of the Islamic teachings with regards to religious freedom and tolerance will not be out of context. The Holy Bhagavad Gita has especially emphasized that the matter of religion relates to the conscience of every individual. Hence, there should be absolutely no force and compulsion in narration. This teaching is not exclusively for the embellishment of paper or the beautification of pulpits. Rather, it is practiced with immense intensity or integrity. The very first treaty of Islam was one of the settled by the Holy Prophet after his migration with the Jewish population of Medina. The very foundation of this treaty was based on the principle of religious freedom and tolerance. The moral obligation of respecting individuals for what they are comes from tolerance. Can start a heated battle very quickly. Everyone has a right to believe that what they want. If there was more tolerance among people, there would be fewer battles over whose religion is right. All illustration of it, the Islamic teachings with regards to religion's freedom and tolerance will not be out of exist. Even the Bhagavad Gita also stresses much and makes it possible to accept conflicting claims, beliefs, values, and ideas as long as or they are moral. For example, different marriage practices fit in within moral values, but sexual abuse of children are immoral and must be tolerated. Let us see empathy and tolerance. Psychologists believe that empathy is a vital motivator for moral behavior. Others argue empathy is a motivator or prosaically and altruistic or unselfish behavior. Empathetic people are sensitive. They place themselves in someone else's shoes or understand how it would feel to be treated like that. Being in someone else's shoes is the essence of tolerance. According to research, people of all ages have a strong sense of fairness and empathy towards others who differ in color, creed, or culture. Such people refuse prejudice between 70 to 80% of the time, affirming tolerance based on the fairness and empathy. Thus, developing empathy in people is essential to make them tolerant. Education is one focus area that helps develop empathy and tolerance among the people. An education policy that cultivates empathy in children is a need of the hour. Such a policy nurtures a strong sense of fairness and justice in children, ultimately leading to the development of a tolerant person and harmonious society. Generally, what we think tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a body like Prahlada, who only few years old, was engaged in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. His father tried to kill him in so many ways. But Prahalada, what is done? Tolerated all of them. So there may be many impediments to make advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. The most important and uncontrollable sense is the tongue. If one can control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling other senses. Humans became a dominant species of the world because of their social organization, built out of the tolerance. If our early ancestors were intolerant, they would have killed each other rather than building civilization. It is only by being tolerant that we can live harmoniously and also especially seeking the success. Everyone should thus make being tolerant their way of life. We are living through a period of global transition. New centers of power and economic dynamism are emerging. Technology is connecting us everywhere more closely, and cross-cultural exchanges are deepening every day. But this does not mean there is no more understanding society or more diverse, but intolerance is the rise in too many places. Across the globe, nations and communities face a profound and enduring, what we can say, environmental challenges. Poverty, hunger, and disease remain at unacceptable levels. Every day, every region is experiencing the rising impact of climate change. Natural disasters are the constant reminder of human vulnerability. Conflicts and inter-community tensions persist across the globe. Millions of the face daily threat of violence and displacement. There are no individual solutions to the multifaceted and interrelated challenges. We can only advance as a community of nations and cultures drawing on human solidarity and recognizing that we share a common destiny. This is why tolerance is so important one. Tolerance is not passive. It demands an active choice to reach out on the basis of mutual understanding and respect, especially where disagreements exist. Tolerance is the key of the body. Like this is also one of the key to the mind. Our diversity is a strength, a wellspring, our creativity, and a renewal for all societies we can't see in such a way. Therefore, every one of us should possess patience or tolerance to build up our nation into higher level. Ekantaya Kalyana Nidhe Nidhedram Sri Venkatavasa Srinivasa Mangala Mangala Sadramaya Madhacharya Puromai Sarvesha Purvairacharya Sakrutayastu Mangalam.